Welcome back to the Evo Code. I'm Dr. Tom Schiller. Today we're talking about athletic performance through the lens of human biology. In sports nutrition, the dominant assumption is simple. Glucose is the primary fuel for athletic performance. The Evo Code represents a complete departure from that idea, grounded in evolutionary biology, mitochondrial physiology, and real athlete data. And once you understand the biology, the framework changes. Humans did not evolve as carbohydrate-dependent organisms. For more than 2 million years, carbohydrate availability was seasonal, intermittent, unreliable. Fat, both dietary and stored, was always present. Even today, at rest and across most exercise intensities, fat oxidation supplies the majority of ATP. The fundamental error in modern sports nutrition is not recognizing fat as the primary fuel for human performance, and instead treating glucose as the default. Glucose is a rapid access fuel. Fat is the endurance and performance foundation. Some of the clearest data comes from elite cyclists. In landmark studies by Volek and Finney, highly trained, fat-adapted cyclists demonstrated fat oxidation rates over 1.5 grams per minute, sustained fat use at 70 to 85% of VO2 max, preservation of muscle glycogen for surges, no loss of peak performance after adaptation. These findings directly contradict the idea that endurance performance requires constant carbohydrate intake. This is not no carb. This is fat first, glucose strategically. The same principle applies to power and team sports. Studies in collegiate and professional football players show strength and lean mass correlate most strongly with protein intake. No consistent performance benefit from chronically high carbohydrate intake. Improved body composition and insulin sensitivity when sugar is reduced. Explosive efforts rely on stored ATP, phosphocreatine, neuro-recruitment, not dietary glucose. Chronically elevated insulin suppresses fat oxidation and impairs recovery. Resistance training is a biological signal, not a calorie burn. That signal is strongest when mechanical tension is high, volume is controlled, baseline insulin is low, recovery intervals are respected. Evo-aligned strategy is 2 to 4 sessions per week. Compound lifts dominate. 2 to 4 minutes rest between heavy sets. Avoid marathon lifting that drives cortisol. Adaptation happens between sessions. Athletic performance improves when insulin is managed intentionally. Evo dietary principles: low carbohydrate overall, almost no added sugar. Avoid seed oils. Emphasize healthy fats as the energy base. The primary fats: animal fats, olive oil, avocado, coconut oil, butter. This pattern lowers baseline insulin, improves fat oxidation, and enhances mitochondrial signaling. Carbohydrates are optional tools, not dietary anchors. Now let's talk about muscle, because this is where a lot of sports nutrition advice still gets it wrong. Muscle protein synthesis is not driven by insulin, it's driven by leucine. When you look at the human studies, the signal is remarkably consistent. You need about 2 to 3 grams of leucine per meal to maximally stimulate muscle building. Practically speaking, that comes from roughly 25 to 40 grams of high-quality protein. And this matters because animal proteins, meat, eggs, dairy, are the most leucine-dense sources we have. For most athletes, daily protein intake should land around 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram per day, with higher needs as we age, during caloric restriction, or during heavy training blocks. The key point is this: exercise already provides the insulin signal. You don't need sugar to build muscle. Protein does the job. This brings us to sports drinks. Here's the simple physiology to remember. Sugar drives insulin, and insulin suppresses fat burning. That's exactly what you don't want during most training sessions. Traditional sports drinks spike insulin during exercise, shut down fat oxidation, and train the body to depend on constant sugar intake. Now, zero sugar sports drinks are generally fine, but there's a catch. Many of them don't contain nearly enough sodium to replace real sweat losses. For most training, Hydration should be simple. Water. Sodium-forward electrolytes with optional potassium and magnesium and little to no sugar. Carbohydrates are a strategic tool for long, high-intensity competition, not a daily requirement. Let's talk about supplements. A small number of supplements consistently support athletic performance. Creatine, about 3 to 5 grams daily, improves strength, power, and cellular energy buffering. Omega-3s, roughly 1.5 to 3 grams of EPA and DHA per day, help control inflammation and support recovery. Magnesium, typically 300 to 400 milligrams daily, supports neuromuscular function and sleep. Sodium is often underconsumed and needs to be individualized, especially for athletes who sweat heavily. And caffeine, when used strategically, not habitually, can enhance performance. Just remember, supplements support the system, they don't override biology. The Evo Code reframes sports nutrition from glucose dependence to fat-based performance biology. Elite cyclists show us it works. Football data confirm it. Humans are fat-adapted, protein-driven, recovery-dependent athletes. That's chapter 21.1 of the Evo Code. Train like the species you are. Thanks for joining me. I'm Dr. Tom Schiller. See you next time.